On the day of the wedding reception, David Smith was passionately kissing his childhood sweetheart. The groomsmen applauded and cheered, "Get together." After a minute, David finally let go, saying dismissively, "I was too excited when I came in and mistook the person." His childhood sweetheart smiled at me, her eyes crinkling. "David will be your husband soon, you shouldn't mind, right?" I smiled and handed her the wedding dress I was wearing. "Of course, congratulations on your wedding." Chelsea Brown's bridesmaid dress and my dress were almost identical. With the veil on, she looked even more like the bride. I took their hands and placed them together. "If you want, I can be a bridesmaid too." The groomsmen, who had been rowdy a moment ago, were now silent. Chelsea looked at David with tear-filled eyes. "What should I do? I think I made the bride angry." "Linda, I really didn't mean to. I didn't expect this to happen." David shielded her behind him, his face dark. "I said, I didn't see clearly when I came in. Don't be unreasonable at a time like this." The groomsmen chimed in, trying to excuse him. "David's heart is set on you." I looked at the handsome face that had stirred my heart for 7 years, now filled with concern for someone else, and felt utterly bored. If he really cared about me, he wouldn't have agreed to have his childhood sweetheart, Chelsea Brown, as a bridesmaid. He certainly wouldn't have mistaken her for me on our wedding day, holding her tightly and kissing her. Even now, a hint of satisfaction lingered on his lips. I waved my hand. "Just see clearly now, and take your bride away." With that, I tore off my veil and walked straight towards the door. My wrist was suddenly grabbed forcefully. David's face was as dark as ink. "Haven't you caused enough trouble? Don't forget you begged me to marry you." He was right. I had cried and pleaded for this marriage, all because of those few moves he used to chase away some thugs 7 years ago. Infatuation was instant, and so was disillusionment. I forced a smile at him. "I won't force you to marry me anymore." His grip tightened, his voice icy. "The wedding is all set. Are you trying to run away now? Are you messing with me?" I looked at Chelsea, who was subtly smiling. "Isn't the wedding arranged according to her preferences? It's perfect for you two to get married." Chelsea burst into tears. "Linda, I just wanted to help you with the arrangements. It's all my fault. I didn't realize you wouldn't like it." David interrupted her. "Don't mind her nonsense. You meant well, there's no need to apologize." As he spoke, their hands were tightly intertwined. I gave a self-deprecating laugh and strode past them. David's cold threat came from behind. "Let her go. She'll come begging me later." This time, he miscalculated. I took a taxi to the nearest hotel. I changed out of the wedding dress, removed my makeup, and took a bath in one go. Once I had cleaned myself up, I realized my phone was blowing up with messages. Everyone was asking where I was. David had sent several voice messages, threatening to call off the engagement if I didn't show up. Without hesitation, I replied with an okay. The next second, the phone rang. I answered, and he started yelling at me. "Linda Johnson, are you pushing your luck? If you're not at the wedding venue in half an hour, we're breaking up." The room service was delivering my clothes. I couldn't be bothered arguing with him. "We broke up 2 hours ago." Not long after hanging up, David appeared at the door with Chelsea Brown. All the hotels in the city belonged to the Smith family, so it wasn't surprising he could find me. He saw me in my bathrobe, my face bare and my hair still dripping wet, and his face twisted in anger. "Linda Johnson, the wedding is about to start. Are you planning to go like that?" I looked at him incredulously. "You didn't agree to let me be a bridesmaid." "I'm not going to the wedding," he gasped, veins poppin'. G out on his forehead, revealing his anger. "You really don't want to get married, do you?" Chelsea said with a mix of grievance and gloating. Linda, today is your big day. The elders are all here. How can you throw a tantrum like this? David will lose face. I looked at her coldly. Why don't you marry him in my place? It's easy to just change the name. She covered her face and started crying, muttering that it was all her fault. David was heartbroken. He was about to scold me when the phone rang. It must have been the elders calling. He repeatedly said yes, then suppressed his anger and tried to persuade me. I apologize for kissing the wrong person this morning. I'll make it up to you after the engagement. Haven't you always wanted a diamond ring from Hudson Jewels? I'll buy you one when the new collection comes out this season. Oh, so he still remembered my preferences. Yet, he still chose to give the diamond ring he proposed to me with to Chelsea Brown. I should have realized they were a couple long ago. Seeing me silent, he licked his lips and leaned in to kiss me. Aren't you just jealous that I kissed Chelsea? I'll make it up to you now. The warm, suggestive breath made me feel disgusted, and my whole body resisted. But he ignored it and held me tightly. The taste of blood filled my mouth before he finally let go. I slapped him hard across the face. Are you disgusting or what? I was shaking all over, tears welling up in my eyes. He was stunned by my outburst. You think I'm disgusting? I smiled back at him. Kissing a mistress and then kissing me, what else would that be but disgusting? The next second, Chelsea Brown appeared in my wedding dress. David, the wedding dress looks so much better. It fits me perfectly. I clearly saw a glint of attraction in David's eyes. Chelsea was the same height as me but 10 pounds lighter. She often made snide remarks about my weight. David always said I didn't have as good a figure as her. Chelsea and the sales associate had finalized the wedding dress order. If it fit her perfectly, it meant she had ordered the wedding dress for herself from the start. No wonder we both struggled to zip it up that day. How could David not have known all this? He probably even intended to pick her up for the wedding reception, right? My stomach churned, and I hated myself for being so blind. I looked at the matching pair in the full-length mirror and clapped. The wedding dress really does look better on the right person. Chelsea was startled, her eyes turning red. Linda, I didn't mean to steal your wedding dress. I'll go change right now. David's eyes never left her. I grabbed my clothes and walked out. I'll leave this room for your wedding night. Chelsea, let's go. We'll just get married today. David held on to Chelsea tightly, and the force of his movement knocked me to the ground. He didn't even turn back. He didn't see Chelsea's triumphant smile. The wedding ultimately didn't happen. After all three families were prominent figures, and they couldn't just change the bride at the last minute. They blamed everything on my willfulness, even though everyone knew David had kissed Chelsea and Chelsea had paraded around in my wedding dress. I was still the one who couldn't get any love. The photographer I had booked suddenly sent a set of photos, all of Chelsea and David in intimate poses. You would think they were the ones getting married today. Miss Chelsea said she'd pay for the booking. Can you settle the final payment now? We took over 100 photos, and we can handle the retouching later. My heart was pounding. My eyes suddenly stung, blurring my vision. They ruined my wedding and still wanted to provoke me like this. And yet, no one thought she was wrong. I transferred the money, put down my phone, and decided to no longer participate in this mess. In my hazy dreams, I kept seeing David's big eyes when we first met, smiling and saying he liked me very much. It was all just a dream. When I woke up, David's eyes were full of impatience. Hurry up and get ready, we're going out to eat. I shot up from the bed. I should have locked the door last night. I'm not going. We've already broken up. Do you know that you're harassing me by barging in like this? My words seemed to provoke him. The knuckles on his hand, which was resting on the edge of the bed, started to turn white. Linda Johnson, can you use your brain for once? Are you really treating our engagement like a joke? Do you know how many elders you're affecting? It was all about those tangled collaborations, wanting to stabilize their business empire through a marriage alliance with me. I suddenly asked him in a daze, if it weren't for these collaborations, you wouldn't have agreed to marry me, right? He paused unconsciously. His tense eyebrows relaxed for a moment, betraying his guilt. Even though I already knew he didn't love me, my heart still ached. It was profit that stood in the way of his pursuit of happiness. I turned my head away, pretending not to care. Don't worry, I'll do my best to preserve the existing business ties. If it really can't be done, deduct the losses from my shares. But he stood up and blocked my way. I didn't come here to talk about business. Chelsea was already scolded by the elders yesterday, and I apologize to you. I was out of line. I specially invited you to a peacemaking meal today. There's no need to make our relationship so awkward. A peacemaking meal? I laughed. I've heard those words so many times. But every time, wasn't it just a pretext for them to prank me? They left me in a remote rural area in -10-degree weather for 5 hours. I was on the verge of death when they found me. If David hadn't felt guilty this time, he probably wouldn't have agreed to get married, right? David, what are you planning to do to me this time? As I laughed, tears welled up in my eyes. He stopped his angry outburst. Instead, he empathy. NTLY pushed me out the door. Don't use your dirty mind to assume things about Chelsea. She even bought you a gift. The hotel had air conditioning, but I didn't have time to buy a coat. The biting wind made me shiver. He glanced at me, then at the time. In the end, he still dragged me into the car. There's no time to buy clothes, and the hotel has heating anyway. There was a women's jacket on the passenger seat. He quickly folded it and put it in the back. This is for Chelsea, don't touch it. He added, afraid I would misunderstand. She's been afraid of the cold since she was a kid, and she didn't dress warmly today. I eased my embarrassment with silence. He wasn't incapable of taking care of people, just not me. The car stopped at the Grand Astoria, the city's most luxurious 5-star hotel. I felt a faint sense of unease. Just as I was about to ask, Chelsea jumped out of a car not far away. She called out to David while shivering and complaining about the cold. The hotel was a manor design. It was a 5 or 6 minute walk to the main entrance. David immediately took off his coat and put it on her. I told you to wear more. I brought a women's jacket in the car. Do you want it? She smiled and took his arm. No need, it's fine if I wear your clothes. The two of them walked side by side. David secretly tugged at the coat that was about to slip off. I followed behind, looking more like their assistant. What I feared finally happened. The so-called dinner was actually a lecture from the elders. Chelsea sweetly greeted all the aunts and uncles, and everyone smiled kindly at her. My mother saw my frostbitten face and started criticizing me without any restraint. Look at you now. Where's your grace as David's wife? You didn't even put on makeup to meet the elders? Why can't you learn from Chelsea? I had an older sister who was very talented. A car accident took her life, and I became a replacement. But a copy is still just a copy, no matter how hard I tried. I couldn't become as talented as my sister. That's why my mother preferred Chelsea, who resembled my sister by a few features. If it weren't for my status, she probably would have wanted to switch us long ago. I wiped my nose, which was running from the cold wind. My parents looked even more displeased. The Brown family quickly said some polite words, pretending to apologize to me. The Smith family also played along, repeatedly saying it was David's fault. David sat next to Chelsea and sent me a message. The elders are here. You should control your temper. I looked around. No one cared about what I really thought. They had already taken the liberty of setting a new wedding date. Chelsea was happily discussing with David what she would wear on the wedding day. I suddenly stood up, looked at David, and asked, "Do you really love Chelsea? If you do, why don't you give her a title? Aren't you afraid of embarrassing both families by being so ambiguous in private?" Everyone's face changed. Chelsea stared at me blankly and then used her trump card. Her tears seemed to be worthless, falling whenever she wanted. "Linda, you've really misunderstood David and me." Everyone was captivated by her aggrieved look and comforted her. As for me, the real victim, they hurled abuse at me. David went to my side and told me to apologize in an unkind tone. The door of the private room was suddenly knocked open, and a delivery man brought a bouquet of bright red roses. Chelsea cheerfully took the flowers and held them in front of me. "Linda, don't be angry. I ordered these flowers specially for you." Everyone praised Chelsea for her thoughtfulness. But I was forced to take the flowers, and the scent made me stagger backward. I knocked over a chair, and David roared in anger. "Chelsea specially sent you flowers to make peace, and this is your reaction?" The pollen made me suffocate. He should know that I was allergic to flowers. He stopped Chelsea from giving me flowers for the first tea. Now, they were both pretending to be ignorant. I smiled bitterly and threw the flowers away. The flowers knocked over a teacup on the table, and hot water scalded Chelsea. "What are you doing?" David's heart ached. He hurriedly picked up Chelsea's hand to check it. Everyone gathered around her. Even my biological parents didn't notice my flushed neck. Chelsea weakly defended me. "Linda didn't do it on purpose." My hands were incredibly itchy. I couldn't care less about their lectures and went straight to the bathroom. As I washed my skin with cold water, I saw red rashes appearing on my face. Chelsea followed closely behind, her beautiful peach blossom eyes smiling at me mockingly. "When the time comes, I'll say I forgot you were allergic to pollen. Who do you think will blame me?" I looked at myself in the mirror, haggard from preparing for the wedding for days. Compared to Chelsea, I looked like a clown. My whole body was shivering in the cold water. After wiping my face, I calmly retorted, "It's useless for you to provoke me, because you're just picking up my trash, a mistress who's trying to climb up. If David really loved you, he wouldn't have kept you hanging on for so many years without a title." She was quickly provoked by my words and knocked the medicine out of my hand. The floor had just been mopped and was very slippery. As she pushed me, she fell flat on her back in front of me. "Ah, my back!" David, who had rushed over, assumed that I had pushed her. He picked her up and said coldly, "Our engagement is officially cancelled." I laughed in relief. The elders were all focused on Chelsea, and I staggered out. It was getting harder and harder to breathe, and my head was spinning. Before I lost consciousness, I called 911. The allergic reaction, combined with a cold and fever, caused me to go into shock. If I hadn't been rescued in time, I wouldn't have survived. I remembered the cold look in David's eyes, and my heart couldn't help but ache. I'd seen me go into shock from an allergic reaction before, but he still chose Chelsea without hesitation. My phone displayed a message. My parents thought I had left without saying goodbye again. They lectured me and then said they would cut off my bank card. "If you don't come back and apologize, don't ever think about coming home." Over the years, I had always felt like an outsider. I checked my savings. Surrounded by a sea of harsh insults, I finally decided to immigrate. There was nothing left for me in this city. After processing the documents for the agency, I took the medical report to the next room for an examination. I ran into David in the hallway. He looked surprised to see me, but his face quickly turned cold. Did your aunts and uncles tell you to come see Chelsea? She hurt her back because of you. Why did you come empty-handed? I waved the medical report in my hand. Who said I came empty-handed? I'm going to have an examination now. Please don't block my way. His eyes darkened. Just as I was about to withdraw my hand, he snatched my medical report. What kind of examination are you having? The next second, he froze at the sight of the pollen allergy on the report. He looked up and carefully examined my face. The obvious rashes made him realize something was wrong. You. He trailed off, at a loss for words. I couldn't help but laugh. Yes, Chelsea deliberately gave me flowers to make me have an allergic reaction and go into shock. As for her twisting her back, it's because she stole my medicine in the bathroom, so she slipped. David was stunned by my gaze. But he quickly licked his lips and defended Chelsea. Chelsea has a bad memory. She just wanted to make you happy. She didn't do it on purpose. It's even more impossible for her to steal your medicine. There must be some misunderstanding. My heart ached so much that I couldn't feel anything anymore. I took back my medical report. When she fell, you didn't think you misunderstood me. A long time ago, when my family misunderstood me over a small matter, he was the one who stood up and chose to believe me. He had also seen me go into shock when I didn't have my medicine with me. But even so, he still chose to excuse Chelsea. Because in his choices, I was never his first priority. I pinched my palm, planning to leave. But he stopped me with a guilty look and said, I really didn't notice it then. I'll get my medicine later and go with you to the examination. I looked at him for a few seconds, my heart a wasteland. Actually, I wanted to ask him, what exactly am I to him? Even with guilt, Chelsea was still his priority. I pushed his hand away and said casually, no need, we've already broken up. It will only cause gossip if you accompany me to the examination. Go see your Chelsea. After all, you only brought a coat for her because it's cold. He seemed to remember what he had done to me. For a moment, I thought I saw regret in his eyes. He quickly caught up with me. I'll go with you to the examination first. It's on the way anyway. Before he could take 2 steps, his phone rang. Chelsea was whining, saying she wanted to turn over. David replied subconsciously, isn't there a nurse there? But I want you to be with me. You should have gotten the medicine by now, right? Her aggrieved voice had a hint of coquetry. David looked at me, his Adam's apple bobbing, but he didn't say anything. He just gave a soft okay. After hanging up, he said with some embarrassment, her back isn't good. I'll come find you after I settle her down. I waved my hand understandingly. Go ahead. I don't need anyone to accompany me. I really didn't expect David to actually show up in my hospital room. He was carrying a thermal container, claiming that he had specially made soup for me. Consider it my apology. I'll take care of you until you're discharged. What about Chelsea? But he acted as if he didn't hear my question and unfolded the table by the hospital bed, placing the soup and dishes on it one by one. I suddenly asked him, Chelsea likes to put red dates in her soup, right? He nodded subconsciously. Then he froze, staring at the small bowl of red dates. He should have remembered that I hated red dates the most. When I was a child, I was picky and didn't eat red dates, so my mother chased me around and scolded me for being useless when I grew up. That day was still inexplicable to me. I could only constantly escape the memories that scared me. He knew that and promised never to let me see red dates again. In the early days of our relationship, he remembered all my likes and dislikes. When we went out to eat, even if he received a call from the company, he would naturally remind the waiter not to put cilantro in the dishes. But now, he had even forgotten the things I hated the most. He opened his mouth, seemingly unsure how to explain. I sighed. Take it back. I've already eaten. He tried to stop me from taking the bowl, but his phone suddenly rang. It was Chelsea calling. He stared straight at me, but his hand was already reaching for the phone. I forced a bitter smile. Answer it. Maybe her back is acting up again. He hesitated for a moment but still answered the phone. I could clearly hear Chelsea acting coquettish and wanting a bowl of soup. Didn't you say you made a lot specially for me? It's really delicious. I want some more now. So that explained why there were so many red dates in the soup. Why David came after mealtime. He absent-mindedly agreed. After hanging up, he looked eager to explain to me. But what was there to explain? No matter how nice the words were, I was just a substitute. It's not like that. I really wanted to make soup for you, so I just brought an extra portion. I calmly lay back on the bed. I didn't hold back and exposed his lie. Yeah, the soup is what she likes to drink, the dishes are what she likes to eat, and you even added cilantro to the beef. You're saying this was for me? Duh. I'm not stupid. I liked you before, so I could pretend to be blind, but now that we've broken up, there's no need for you to waste your time here pretending. His hand holding the phone tightened, and his face suddenly turned pale. After a long time, he stammered an apology to me. I'm sorry. I'll definitely bring you food according to your preferences tomorrow. With that, he fled the hospital room. Not long after, another uninvited guest arrived at the hospital room. Although Chelsea was wearing a hospital gown, she was still full of energy. She didn't even need to hold on to anything to walk. She raised her eyebrows, not even bothering to pretend. I told you, even if David knows you're allergic to pollen, he'll still be on my side. I nodded, confirming her thoughts. So you don't care if he knows you're faking your back injury, right? She looked at me mockingly, with a hint of pity. Yeah, David pampers me, so what if he knows I'm faking it? You told him about it? He didn't side with you either, did he? I just want you to understand that you shouldn't force yourself on someone you can't get. In the end, you'll just embarrass yourself. I looked at her smug face. I finally understood why the Smith family liked her but didn't want to marry her into the family. Compared to personal preferences, they would rather have a dignified daughter-in-law. I couldn't help but curl my lips. I'll say it again, if he really favored you, he would have married you long ago. How could he let you be a stumbling block in our relationship? Don't you see what the rumors are in the circle? Even if I'm not loved, I'm still better than a mistress like you. She became angry, but this time, she didn't hit me. She walked up to me and then fell to the ground. Then I'll show you which is more important, love or a title. I looked up and saw David rushing in with a worried expression. Chelsea changed her face in an instant. David, I just wanted to come see Linda and apologize to. Oh, her. Please don't blame her. She trailed off. David held her, his eyes looking at me with a complicated expression. Neither of them spoke. But I understood. David Smith was still picturing her being bullied by me. He wouldn't believe me, not even once. He didn't come around for days after that. Chelsea Brown's social media was constantly updated, just to flaunt David Smith's love to me. Helping her walk, feeding her nutritional meal. I just smiled. None of that could hurt me anymore. After checking out of the hospital, I took a cab to the airport. I also made sure to send a video of Chelsea Brown in the hospital to everyone. 9. By the time I landed and settled down, the social circles back home had already exploded. Nothing was more humiliating for the family elders than Chelsea Brown admitting herself that she was faking it. My phone blew up again with messages. Chelsea Brown was screaming and cursing. You bitch, I hope you die a horrible death. Are you happy now that you've made me a laughingstock? You want to steal David Smith so badly, why pretend to call off the engagement? I simply added her to my blacklist. I heard that the Brown family felt so ashamed that they took her home that night and confiscated her phone. My parents sent a lot of messages, with a hint of regret mixed in with their scolding. But no one thought I had been wronged. David Smith called while I was talking to the landlord about the follow-up contract. I answered it on the next ring. There was a 2-second silence on the other end, heavy breathing, and then an apology. "I'm sorry. I really didn't know she was faking it. She confessed that she got rid of your medicine herself. I really misjudged you before." It was rare to hear David Smith lower himself like that to me. I was in a great mood and asked him if he wanted to say anything else. He probably didn't expect me to react like that. He hesitated and finally just said, "Where are you now?" "I'll come pick you up so W. E can talk properly." "In London." I didn't plan to hide my specific address. If they wanted to find out, they could find out anytime. David Smith was a little incredulous. "You went abroad? When are you coming back?" I replied faintly, "I'm not." He panicked on the other end. "Why aren't you coming back? Your parents are still in the country. You left without a word." I listened to his complaints quietly, and then replied, "My parents don't love me, and they don't really want to see me that much. Me leaving is a relief for them too. If you see them, say hi for me." Before he could say anything else, I hung up the phone and threw the SIM card in the trash. I didn't want to get involved in the things back home anymore. After resting for 2 days, David Smith appeared in front of me, exhausted. "Let's talk." 10. I looked at the stubble-faced man and blocked the door, not letting him in. "Just say whatever you need to say in the yard." He exhaled a puff of white air, staring at me intently. I brought him apple pie afternoon tea, but he didn't take it. Instead, he grabbed my wrist. "I'm here to take you back to the country." I pushed him away, speechless. I said I'm not going back. "If that's why you're here, you can leave now." He looked hurt, and his voice trembled. "I know you're mad at me. I came here specifically to apologize to you. I misunderstood you before. It was my fault. Chelsea Brown has been taught a lesson, and she will apologize to you too. Stop being stubborn, okay?" Even now, he still thought I was just throwing a tantrum, that he could coax me with a few words. I couldn't help but smile bitterly. I looked up and made serious eye contact with him. "David Smith, staying in London is a decision I made after careful consideration. It has nothing to do with you." He suddenly became agitated. "How can it have nothing to do with me? If you stay here, how will we see each other in the future? We haven't even had our wedding yet. My family's business is all in the country. If you want to go abroad, you should at least give me some time to prepare, right?" I looked at him curiously. "We're not together anymore. Why would we need to see each other?" He seemed to be amused by my words, grabbing my arms tightly and shaking me. "You're my fiancé. You can't just say we're over." "What were the last 7 years then?" I was stunned by his question. He was the one who didn't want me first. I also wanted to ask him, when he was doing everything to please Chelsea Brown, where did he put our 7 years of relationship? "If you had any feelings for me, how could you have kissed Chelsea Brown passionately on our wedding reception?" He seemed to have been stung by a needle and let go of my hands dejectedly. If he really mistook her for me as he said, he should have noticed the difference within a minute. I didn't know what he was thinking at that moment, but I only knew that my heart was dead forever. I turned around and broke free from his grasp. "David Smith, don't come anymore. I have no feelings for you anymore." David Smith sat in front of my yard for a long time before finally stumbling away. Just when I thought life would become peaceful, he called a bunch of friends and relatives from the country. Dozens of drones formed the words "I love you" in the sky. He took out the diamond ring that I had always longed for and knelt down on one knee. "Linda, will you marry me?" 11. Everyone was cheering. "Say yes." Even my parents were wiping away tears. "Linda, David Smith is really sincere about you. You two will definitely be happy after you get married." No one cared about the harm I had suffered before. David Smith was practically using moral blackmail, kneeling in front of all the elders, begging me. I sighed and shook my head. "Why are you embarrassing yourself in front of so many people?" I couldn't understand his thought process. When I was looking forward to marrying him, he ignored me. Now that he got his wish and I he made such a big scene. He replied in a low voice, "Linda, I was wrong before. I've realized my mistakes. I won't let Chelsea Brown bother us again. Give me another chance. I just want everyone to witness our love." Everyone chimed in, blaming Chelsea Brown, as if they had never participated in hurting me. I couldn't help it anymore and stopped my parents, who were scolding the loudest. "You never believed your own daughter before. Why are you pretending now? If it wasn't for the company's cooperation, you wouldn't care where I am right now, would you?" My mom got anxious and quickly said that they had always cared about me. But in the past 20 years, I had never truly felt my parents' love. I was more like a tool for the Johnson family. I had to be proficient in music, chess, calligraphy, and painting to be presentable, and I had to be obedient and listen to their orders. But they had never asked me if I even wanted that kind of life. Forget it. If you really cared about me, you would at least know that I'm allergic to pollen. My parents' faces changed, and they even looked ashamed. David Smith promised me very seriously, "It doesn't matter if your parents don't love you. You'll have me in the future. I'll give you all my love." How pathetic, I blurted out subconsciously. David Smith froze, his eyes filled with tears. He had confessed to me the same way 7 years ago. But in the end, all I got was his blatant favoritism towards someone else. "You never intended to give me love anyway, and I don't care for it." I turned around to leave. David Smith immediately got up, staggering as he blocked my way. His voice choked with emotion. "I know I've wronged you a lot before, but I'll definitely make it up to you in the future. Believe me, I only ever wanted to marry you. Even without the family's cooperation, I would have chosen you." His tall figure bent down in front of me. He looked at me cautiously, afraid of being rejected again. After a long while, I finally spoke. "You're the only one who believes those words, aren't you? No matter what you think, I only believe what I've seen. We're completely over. Don't bother me anymore." Maybe he really did want to marry me. But so what? He still chose to have an ambiguous relationship with Chelsea Brown. Even if he was deceived, he willingly believed her words. In the past few years, I had repeatedly tolerated them, but all I got in return was their increasing audacity. Since he couldn't choose me firmly, what was the point of marriage? In my eyes, he and my parents were the same kind of people. As he tried to chase after me again, I had already contacted the community police. Dozens of friends and relatives who wanted to speak up for him were all taken away by the police. My parents were still unwilling to give up. They said they realized they were wrong, but that didn't stop them from declaring to the outside world that they had severed ties with me. Their pride was more important than their love for me. David Smith was the last one left. I applied for police protection. The area he could approach me was small, and most of the time he could only look at me from afar. We lived like that, not interfering with each other. Half a month later, he contacted me. "My visa is about to expire. My parents won't let me apply for a green card. I have to leave. David Smith was the only heir of the Smith family. They wouldn't let him do as he pleased. I felt a sense of relief and said okay with a smile. He stubbornly asked me to see him one last time at the airport. I went anyway. In the VIP waiting room, I saw him looking listless. He had lost a lot of weight. After handing me a glass of water, he fell into a long silence. I broke the awkwardness. "How have you been?" He smiled bitterly, without answering directly. "It looks like you're having a good time here. Maybe I'll come find you again in the future." I said faintly, but I quickly retorted, "Never mind, you better not." He lowered his head and suddenly said, as if talking to himself, "At the wedding reception, Chelsea Brown ran towards me first. I didn't realize it. Later, I thought I'd wait for you to come forward, stop it, and then get jealous." He glanced at me, full of reluctance, but he didn't say the rest of the words. I also kept the tacit understanding and didn't reply. He didn't expect that in just that one moment everything would change. It was time to board. I watched his back as he left, remembering how many times I had looked at him like that before. But in the future, I only wanted to love myself.